Hello everybody, this is Purge, bringing you guys a first-person replay commentary. This game I played Ancient Apparition, and this was a solo queue pub that I played yesterday. Some fan made me a document, and helps me track which heroes I played recently, and one of the things that I hadn't played in forever was Ancient Apparition. So the hero is still occasionally picked in the pro scene, not a huge amount, but sometimes. And he's been relatively unchanged for a very long time. I don't actually play him very often, but at least in pubs. But I kind of wanted to play him this game because he kind of hard countered my enemy opponents. I'm gonna speed this up a little bit, just a little, because picking takes way longer. I played against this guy. I played with him the game before, and he picked Necrolyte. And he played really well. So I was like, okay, that guy played pretty well the game before. So I wanted to make sure that I had a counter against him. And Ancient Apparition is one way to do this because it doesn't have the best reliable disables in the early game, but what he does provide is a lot of nuke power and decent magic damage and magic amp, and most importantly his ultimate, which not only does damage but it prevents healing and continuously does damage over time, which interrupts things like bottles or things like that. So the anti-heal thing is the most important thing though. It's great against Necrolyte or Necrophos because Necrophos is always going to be casting Death Pulse. If you can land an Ice Blast on a whole enemy team, then all that does is a really weak nuke. The most important about Necrophos' Death Pulse is generally about the fact that it heals your allies. So if you can prevent that from happening, then it really allows you to burst people down and secure kills. It's kind of like a death sentence if they don't have a Black King bar or they don't dodge the Ice Blast. Those are the ways that they have to deal with it. So that's why I ended up picking it here, because it's a really good counter, and I wanted to see it work out. So support Ancient Apparition is a bit of a different thing than most support heroes, because you don't have a reliable disable. You kind of have to roam the map in the later game, playing very, very safe, because you don't have a disable and you don't have an escape. Now you can build that way. You can do something like get a fast Force Staff, but your HP is still very low, and if somebody does get on top of you, sometimes a Force Staff isn't going to be enough to save you. So generally positioning is most important. When the fight starts, you can come to initiate after you shoot your ulti, and then cast your spells where applicable, attack a couple times, and then generally back off and wait for more cooldowns is kind of how you have to play. In the laning stage, you're pretty good at zoning the offlaner because you can cast Chilling Touch on your allies, which is his third skill. It gives you bonus magic damage for a couple hits. It also does reduce your attack speed, so you have to be a bit careful when you use it, but casting it on yourself and your allies when you're trying to focus somebody down is definitely worth it. The first major problem that I noticed that we have just by drafting is that they have a Storm Spirit and we have very few disables relatively. We have Earthshaker as well as a Bat Rider, and that's about it basically. So as support, I'm just going to buy the normal typical things, which is going to be Observer, Courier, Tango, Ironwood Branches, and a Clarity Potion. For most supports that have a lower int or mana pool that really need mana to function, I'll buy 2 Clarity Potions instead of 1 and only get 2 Ironwood Branches. But Ancient Apparition, since he's an interior with a pretty high base, I think it's okay to just go 1 Clarity Potion and get 3 Ironwood Branches instead. The trade-off is basically the Clarity Potion gives you 135 mana, an Ironwood Branch gives you 13 mana, and some very, very minuscule mana regen. But it also gives you 19 HP, and it also gives you 1 damage. So I sometimes, if I feel like you don't really need the mana by a huge amount, then I'll like to just go 1 Clarity Potion instead. So this ward spot is maybe a bit of a waste because I'm not really sure I expect them to roam from the... I mean, if you ever ward this rune spot here, what it allows you to do is to notice the off lane roaming towards the mid lane. So if you're expecting ganks from there, this ward's pretty good. And I decided to just go really fast and place it high. Because then we should be able to spot anybody that's going to the rune top, and it should allow our mid some advantage there, and it also spot anybody roaming towards us here. So that would be Earth Spirit. He's going to contest the rune, but we also have a Spectre in the area, so make sure you do pick up those runes. It did end up being a bounty rune. I kind of wish the Spectre would let me have it. I don't really like when carries take the bounty rune at the 0-second mark. I think that's a bit of a mistake because while they do need a lot of gold to snowball, I feel like the 50 gold is a lot towards getting a Flying Courier or your first Observer ward or something like that. Like, I feel like the 50 gold is one last hit essentially, and that kind of a small gold change is not enough to really make a huge difference in a carry's life, whereas for support 50 gold like that is kind of a big deal. I'm not entirely sure about that, but that's kind of how I feel about it. Obviously, if there's a rune or something like that, you should always let the mid-hero bottle it, but at least at the 0-second rune. Like, for example, we'll find out shortly that our camp is blocked, for example, and we're going to find that out in a bit. and because he put a ward there, and the Earthshaker was greedy and bought boots first, which is entirely his problem. But because there was a ward there, if I had 50 extra gold, I would be 50 closer to getting a sentry, or maybe you could buy a spunk with it. It's just with those little pieces of gold that supports have trouble getting, I feel like that gold is sometimes a lot better on a support. I'm not entirely sure about this. I thought this was going to be a kill for sure, but with the Earth Spirit there, he can just pull him past fissures like that, so pretty much nothing we can do about that. Alright, so now we have the problem of not having any way to get experience other than a side pull here with the large camp, and I did end up doing this pull after. I should have done it in this pull, but I missed it. I wasn't thinking about it. I think I was busy typing about how I wish he had sentries or something like that. If he did have sentries, it would have been really good. You should always come to lane with sentries if you're doing a safe tri lane, because if they do, and especially with two greedy supports, Ancient Apparition and Earthshaker are both greedy supports, so if you're not able, or if you are able to pull, then it's going to allow your greedy supports to get more levels and more experience. So this is one pull you can do with the large camp. Wait until the creeps are right before the tower right here, and that's when I end up doing the pull. And to be a little careful here, I'm just going to cast Chilling Touch just in case, and I'm going to right click a little bit. Again, I don't have a stun, so there's only so much I can do. That was a good Spectral Dagger from the Spectre here. But as we have done the side pull, let's go look over to see if it's actually killed any creeps. None of these creeps are actually going to die to the neutrals, I think. He does actually get the last hits. And in a way, this is going to give him some EXP advantage because this large camp was killed. What it also does is it guarantees that we're able to take last hits uncontested. And this creep ended up dying. We shared experience with the Earthshaker. It wasn't the worst. And they basically didn't lose anything about this, but it did allow the Spectre to get some time to regen up on tangos. So even if they do get those last hits, it's almost always worth it to do that. So I was considering going over to help the Bloodseeker in the mid lane in some way, but I really don't think that's going to be worth it. If anything, I think this is the part where I told them be careful not to block that camp, because that's all we have to work with. So the block area is somewhere around here. It's kind of a big zone. You have to be careful not to block that camp very often. And again, I can come forward and try to slow them down. I didn't bother getting Cold Feet level 2 because landing the Cold Feet is going to be impossible in this lane. You can combo Cold Feet, it takes 4 seconds to set in place, so you have to keep somebody in one place for a very, very long time. And that's just not going to happen with an Earthshaker and a Spectre unless we get a Fissure block off, but they have an Earth Spirit hiding anyways, so it's unlikely. I'm just going to do this pull again. So with Ice Vortex, at the very least, I can slow my opponents by 15% and get some increased magic damage. And the increased magic damage is going to help out the Chilling Touch. So every time we right click, oh god, I was so bad at last hitting here. It was really, really bad. We're splitting the experience with the Bristleback here. I think I missed all 3 of them. I was attacking. My focus was really bad right there. But either way, we do still get experience from that camp. I should have gotten some gold out of it. That was absolutely horrible. But and now I'm going to go Rune Control. This is another thing that you should be doing as a support hero. Very important that you go do this. And look at this. I'm going to get a 50 gold bounty rune. There's a chance he could have killed me here, I think, because I believe he was 6. Yeah, he was 6 here, but he was not able to kill. Our ability to kill that storm is just very, very low, in my opinion. Let's see what levels the Bloodseeker has. He only had a 3-second silence. It was very unlikely that kill was going to work, in my opinion, but that's fine. So I pick up level 3. I got a Flying Courier here. I'm pretty late, 4 minutes. I'm going to sacrifice me getting boots because I know that the Earthshaker started with boots, so if he's able to just greed it out a little bit and get arcanes, it can give him a lot of advantage in the early game. Like, he can get a lot done with arcane boots, basically. And whenever the Bristleback comes up now, I'm just going to right-click him. And it's okay to cast Chilling Touch like this because it guarantees that the Spectre doesn't miss last hits, and I can also deny really well as well. It's another thing you can do. So casting Chilling Touch once in a while is fine. The cooldown is really long, so try not to do it before a fight starts, but don't be afraid to just cast it in lane like that if you can help zone the offlane hero and allow your carry to get some more last hits. We did another side pull here. Make sure you pull the next creep wave a little bit left, because if they get too close to your creeps, they'll aggro to the right, and everything will be wasted. The troll creeps are by far the best, because with a single camp they can deny creeps very, very easily, and as you see, one creep has already died, the second creep is going to die as well, and that's 2 creeps that they don't get last hits for, and I believe also experience. I don't think he got experience for those, so that's 3 creeps that got denied. To do this a little better, if you really want to deny a lot with it, you can do the pull at the 5:30 mark or something like that. Actually, it's a bit later. It's when this camp comes forward, and if you pull that camp, these creeps will be out here when this one respawns, and then you'll have a double pull. So even if it's not a dark troll camp, it'll still be able to kill creeps. which can be very, very useful if they do block your camp. So adjusting, even not having sentries, can still be really good for you. So make sure that you do learn those pulls. Remember, this pull for the Dire side is going to be when the creeps are right here. For the Radiant side, I pull them when they're right here. So it's pretty much always at the tower. If you're pulling these creeps in a wave, pull when they're right at your tower. Here and here. Those are the two places to pull. I think I was coming mid here. I had a haste. I wonder where that guy went. I went looking for him. I was like, alright, he's got to be over here somewhere. Wow, that was really close. He doubled back on me. And he also salved up, so I wasn't going to kill him anyways. So I spent a lot of time looking for him. I was like, where'd this guy go? It's like, maybe I'll just come down here and punch Necrolyte a little bit. But then I lost my haste, so I was like, whatever. What a waste of my time. I basically ran all the way across the map. I was a little worried right here. He probably could have killed me if he positioned a little better. And now I wasted so much time being down here. That was a big mistake. After I didn't find him here, I should have immediately been running back towards the top lane, in my opinion. That would have been better. He should have casted Blood Rage on him first, because he would have gotten some heal from it. He was probably going to die no matter what, but that was pretty good for him. He got some experience, he got some gold out of it. I'm going to pick up a TP scroll here. I should have been back top a lot faster. I don't really want to TP as a support. You don't generally want to TP to lane. As Ancient Apparition, it might not be the worst because he doesn't have a hard disable, so him being able to show up to lane and save an ally from dying is very, very unlikely. But it's still better to save it because, again, you don't get a whole lot of money as a support hero, so being careful with that is very important. That's a pretty dead hero. Unfortunately, he did dodge the fissure, so to be a little careful about the Storm Spirit, but I decided to do a pull here. And this is maybe not the right time to do a pull because it was just as they were coming under our tower. Gonna cast a little Chilling Touch, a couple right clicks here. Should have some kills. Bristleback's actually pretty countered by Bloodseeker right now. Rupture, it does HP removal damage, and it does a lot of damage if they're moving. So it's been quite useful for getting kills. And we also see the Storm over here. We've got to be a bit careful now. Chilling Touch is now kind of useful. We finally have an ability that keeps somebody in one place, and that's going to be Rupture. So it's going to be completely worth it. So we get the kill there. Chilling Touch is good now because we're dealing with more silences, more stuns, things like that. It's going to turn out nicely. 1 second. Just recording a video. Okay. That was Straw that messaged me. I really like playing with him, so I want to play with him next game. Yeah, so Chilling Touch is actually good now that I have Rupture. It does okay damage. I believe it does 150 magic damage at level 1, assuming they stay for the 4 seconds. And at level 4 it does 300 magic damage. That's okay. It's not amazing, but it's okay. And at this point I kind of like getting it more Chilling Touch levels. Our team is kind of right-click based. Spectre especially, Bloodseeker will right-click. Batrider doesn't right-click so much. So I feel like maxing Chilling Touch first is not always the best. I'm not sure. I think if my team was more right-click, then it would be worth it. But we have a lot of melee heroes. We basically have 3 heroes that don't do any right-clicking. 1, 2, 3, kind of 3 heroes. I don't know. I feel like if we had more carries, it'd be worth it. But I didn't really feel like it was worth it here. So I thought maxing Cold Feet. I almost never max Cold Feet first, but this game I believe I actually maxed Cold Feet. I almost never do that though. If it does end up proccing, it stuns for 3.5 seconds, which is huge. So if you can get that to work, it's fantastic. So when you do the pulling, try to get at least 1 creep, and then you go to connect. There's only a Troll Warlord here, so this means that the camp is very likely just gonna die, or not kill all the creeps. But I was able to connect it and get 1 creep. And this is a good way to get extra experience. You gotta learn how to do these pulls. If you guys don't know how to do them and you're playing support, you need to go into a custom lobby and just practice pulling. There doesn't have to be any heroes in the game. You just practice pulling until you can get it down and you kind of learned when to do it. It's basically 1.5 HP worth of creeps is basically when you do it. Now Spectre was leaving. I wasn't really sure about this, but I'll sit in the lane and get last hits. I was cool with this. Oh, he was haunting for this one. Just got my ult here. I was considering ulting this, but it's really not worth it. It's also not worth it for our carry to go for kills like that. My last sitting was absolutely superb. I was really distracted this game. I didn't feel very mentally sound. It was weird. So, getting solo experiences in AA is really good though. There are some strats that some teams do. Cloud9 does this, for example. Their safe lane carry gets some kind of a jungling ability. And then what they'll do is they'll shift their carry into the jungle and they'll put one of their supports in the lane, like what I've been doing the last minute or two. And the reason they do this is because it allows their supports to catch up. So if they do have a greedy hero that needs 6 as a support to be effective, then they can end up being really effective a lot earlier. And they'll be able to grab gold a little faster, and this will transition them into some better items a bit quicker. So I should be able to purchase things now. And what I want to buy is going to be a fast Aghanim Scepter. I'm not completely sold on this item as a support because I kind of like using a ulti just to blow one hero up at the start of the fight, especially with the heroes we have. We have a Bat Rider. If you have a Bat Rider, you're usually going to grab one guy and pull him out of position and then kill him in that small time period. And if you can do that, that mech was so close. If that mech would have hit, man, this whole game could have been way different, I think. Sending my ulti out. Well, I landed that, but it did almost nothing. I grabbed a point booster because I want to get an X. So if you have a Bat Rider, you're generally going to burst one person down. And to land those AA Ice Blast, you're usually going to be in short range. And if you're in short range, it's a small AoE. If you're long range, the Ice Blast is a big AoE. When you get eggs, it's better to shoot long range ones because you want to catch their whole team. Because once you grab an egg, it increases the duration of the heal prevention, basically, and the damage over time and the shatter percentage. If you're really far away and you land an Ice Blast, it's awesome with an eggs. If you're short range and you kill one guy with an eggs, it's like, why did I buy an eggs, basically? At the eggs really doesn't add anything except for more time, but if you kill the guy, he's dead anyway. So I'm not completely sold on Aghanim Scepter from Ancient Apparition. But it is pretty good. I don't know. The best part is its HP, and raw HP is kind of what Ancient Apparition needs, so I kind of like it. I'm just not completely sold on it, whether it's the right choice. Maybe I should get something more like Urns or something. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. I think our Bat Rider still doesn't have a Blink Dagger here. This does not look good. Always drop a Vortex right before your ulti hits. It's one of the best things about the skills. And again, put down a Cold Feet. He is going to end up not getting stunned, but he's going to die. So that's pretty good. I was really happy with my Ice Blast there. I hit like 3 or 4 heroes with it as they clumped up to go for an ally. And I also kept my positioning in a fairly safe place. So even though there was stuff going on right here, I checked to see what he got. He got Vortex. You still want to keep yourself kind of careful to the right side. Like, don't let people jump on you. If Storm ever jumps on me, I'm gonna die because I can't do anything to stop it. I can Cold Feet, but he can always ball away or choose when to escape. Whereas I'm a lot more static in what I can do. But yeah, always drop the Vortex before your ulti hits. That was really close. It does increase the damage by a bit. It's only 15%, but you know, it helps out, especially if I landed on a couple of people. This was a huge mistake as well that I was really kicking myself for. If you're really low in mana and you're about to go back to base, never cast one last Ice Vortex. Never do that. It's the worst thing ever, and I always do it. I had 80 mana, so I was like, oh, this is my only spell, I might as well go back. But the reality is that your ultimate is like the lowest mana cost spell in the game. It's 100 mana. It's like one of the most cost-efficient things for its cost, so never cast a Vortex on the way home, because this entire time that I was running home, maybe it would have been a good time to ulti, you know? Maybe it would have been, but I won't know that. I should have placed a little bit farther back, but I never would. I don't necessarily know that, and casting the Vortex surely isn't going to do anything, because all it does is barely slow and barely increase magic, reduce magic resistance, so be really careful with your mana when you're playing Ancient Apparition. Don't waste it when you're running back to base. Make sure that you have enough for your Ice Blast. Again, still building eggs, still buying Observer Wards. It is kind of okay for me to go full Ward player, because we do have an Earthshaker. If we check out his items, he does not have a Blink Dagger yet. I think he's got to be close though. He's got 14 gold, 1400 gold right now. And we're just going to use that as a zoning tool so we can defend the tower. We'll take the tower there. Really good to take the tower. That was a bounty rune that I just saw, but it doesn't really matter that much. And now we're just going to kind of continue to turtle. We just mostly want to protect the Spectre, and we want a ward based on that. I kind of wish I had a ward here instead of this ward here. I think somebody else placed this one, but a lane ward really deep is really good with a Spectre, because you can usually see people that are approaching up the lane to go gank. For now, Spectre is just in the jungle, and he has 2200 gold, and he has like drums phase, I believe, yeah. So we're in not the best place, but it's kind of an okay place. But Storm is doing quite well, so it's kind of scary. And I think we still don't have a blink dagger. Yeah, I don't know. The game is not looking very good right here. So we kind of just have to sit back. Necrolyte, I believe, built a mech. He did. He went mech first, which I think is actually a big mistake. I was able to land the buff on 2 heroes. We ended up losing 2 to 3, but we got Earth Spirit and Storm, which is pretty good. We got a blink on bad out of that too. My ulti was pretty bad. That Desolate's so good. I don't really like his choice to max out his 3rd skill before his 1st skill though. I'm not sure that's good. The dagger does pretty bad damage, but it's still pretty good to level it up because it does get you kills. But I don't know, maybe this isn't the right lineup to bother with that, because he does have to worry a lot about Storm just jumping on him, and as well as Necrolyte just pretty much one-shotting him. So here I decided to buy Tranquil Boots. Sometimes it's worth purchasing Tranquil Boots, not necessarily because you need the regen, but also because you really need the armor. And against a hero like Storm Spirit, the extra 4 armor can make a decent difference. Just launch off my ulti before I walk out here. Just good to do that once in a while. It slows people down from pushing. They decide against it. They back for a little bit. It buys you a little bit of time. It can be really nice. Earthshaker still doesn't have a blink dagger, so I'm not sure. Maybe he should have been farming top maybe instead of me to get a fast blink. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, Tranks are pretty good against Bristleback. They're kind of good against Storm Spirit. Storm Spirit does largely magical damage, but he does do a decent amount of right click damage. He's going to attack at least like 5 or 6 times for like 100 damage as he kills me. So you know, 4 armor can make a difference, and it will guarantee pretty much that I always have full HP. Also, if you're playing A, don't be afraid to just go to the jungle and right click creeps. You don't have like the best way to farm, but just sitting in the jungle like this and killing a centaur is going to give you a little bit of advantage. I was keeping these low because we were trying to get the Earthshaker, his blink dagger, I believe. And I think he ended up just going for that one instead. I saw that he did have his gold, so I'll just finish these off. So there we go, got a level. Woohoo. I think at this point I started maxing out Ice Vortex because we do have a decent amount of magic damage, so putting a couple of these down during a team fight is actually fantastic. The slow is not amazing, but the magic resist reducer is really good. It's really good, especially if you have any kind of combo damage. When we used to play, when I used to scrim with the team a couple months ago, we would do some strats where you max out Ice Vortex first because you would have heroes like Centaur, because Centaur is a hero that does a lot of magic damage. This looks good. Oh, I got stunned. That was why. I was like, why did I stand there for so long? It's because I got hit by a rocket. Always plant the vortex where they're trying to run through. Pretty good kills for us. Yeah, the Necrolyte really didn't go the right item build. I think if you're playing against an AA, you can't go mech. Like, you really can't. You have to make a pipe or something. Because if I ever, or you can't even stand in the back, or in the front, because if I ever Ice Blast you, your 2,300 gold item is 100% wasted. And you can't Death Pulse. You just have to build raw HP and magic resistance, or you have to get a BKB. Those are your options. But you really can't make a mech. It's not very good. So having an AA with a Batrider is actually a really good combo. It's kind of similar to having like a, I don't know, like an AA and Alina, or I'm sorry, Batrider and Alina. Just a support that you can like really blow one guy up to start off the fight, and that's always great to do. So I have 3 levels of Vortex now, 2 Chilling Touch. Could you guys kind of see why Chilling Touch is useful and not amazingly useful with this team? I like every single Ancient Apparition game I play, I skill build something very different. It's always very, very different. It's entirely based on the heroes I have, the heroes they have, the situations. It's very, very dependent on what kind of heroes I'm seeing. We were baiting the Spectre right now, so I decided ulti bottom because I guessed that they were about to go, and I was actually right. So ulti's flying out. Unfortunately, I was a little short. I should have gone farther because I knew that God, Rupture lasts for so long. I should have known that the fight was going bad for them, so they were likely to back off. That guy was such a bad manner. Such bad manners. Running down to the fight. Another good thing about Tranquils is it does make me run pretty fast, so trying to get here as fast as I can. I like checking skill point ranges on things. And there we go, all good. I had to land a short range ulti, but I really like shooting at Ancient Apparition ultis. It's pretty fun. It's a very skill-based thing. Spectre ends up picking up a kill with his ultimate. That was good. And I'll just farm like 1 or 2 more creeps, and I have to leave because the Storm Spirit's back up. And if he wants to kill me for absolute free, he'll just TP to the bot lane, and then I'll die. So I have to go back. Used all my mana and then running it home. So that was pretty good. My first ulti was bad, but my second one was good. I showed up just in time. Got the Vortex down. Just drop Vortexes. You have a pretty big mana pool as A. All you really have to do is be able to ult once and maybe cast a Cold Feet, a Chilling Touch, and a couple Vortexes, and you're happy. And I can do about 8 of those things, maybe a little bit less, 6 to 8 of those things. 1 magic stick is enough to just give you a bit more mana boost. So you really don't need very many items as Ancient Apparition to be useful. The levels are more important than anything else, I think, on this hero, depending on what they're dealing with. I mean, if you're against a Ricky or something like that, maybe you'll need a Ghost Scepter, because that hero is really going to cause you problems. But as long as you can see where your opponents are, you can generally position correctly based on it. So with level 2 ulti, it does more damage. It also has a bigger threshold. I think we were maybe going to ulti set up mid, so I just decided to shoot an ulti down. I ended up missing, unfortunately. We told them not to go on this. We were like, oh, this is bad. After I missed my ulti, it was really bad. They needed it back. That was unfortunate. Really close to getting a kill. So we ended up losing the Bat Raider for that, because I missed my ulti a little bit. I always I should always put them a little deeper. It's always, it's always better to put it deeper than it is for it to land right on top of them. For you to put it right on top of them, because as the Ice Blast flies over their heads, it applies the debuff. So basically, I would be able to put the debuff on them, which is very valuable. Even if I don't do the burst damage with the 250 or the 350, it's not good, but it's better than missing entirely. And I keep missing entirely because I'm trying to put it right on top of them, and where I should be putting on them is a little behind them. And that one is good. Don't remember the mana of the Storm. It looked pretty high though. He's completely gone. But we ended up getting the Bristle back. That was good. Do we have a blinked yet? We do. I kind of want to help, but I have no mana, so I'm just going to run back to base again. I'm going to look for an ulti in about 10 seconds. This looks like a really bad fight. You do spend a lot of time going back to base as Ancient Apparition, but again, it's not that big of a deal. It's kind of just about using your ultimate at the right time. His playstyle is very different than most support heroes. A lot of support heroes have to be up in front, casting spells, but you're more kind of a initiator. You supplement damage and things like that. So I'm gonna go put a ward down. This is one of the first times I put a ward over here from this side. So I was like trying to figure out where you have to put it, and then bam, right there. That's where you gotta put it. It's a really good ward if you're dire and you're scared to go in the river, and it's good to place things from your side, because if they have a ward at any of these like 4 spots, and you place it from inside the river, they're not going to know exactly where you put it, basically. So you have to be really careful to do that. And it is important at this point to ward Roshan, because it is still up. And if the lane is staticking like this, really important that I do get the last hits. I see the Earth Spirit coming up. We have a great ward over here. With this ward, I can kind of see where they're moving to and from. So I'm just going to sit here if possible and get as many last hits as I can. Again, if I can finish the Ags, it guarantees a kill on somebody that doesn't have a BKB. And currently none of them have BKBs, though Storm Spirit is working towards one. A little early. It's a lot easier to watch yourself last hit than it is to make sure you're not getting ganked while last hitting, I feel. So getting kind of close. I think if they were better players, I would have gotten ganked by now. Because they're spending a lot of time just standing around, and I think that's really terrible. That's just bad play. I should have been ganked. Just by watching this, the amount of time that I spent sitting mid like that is just so scary. Because they very easily could have used a smoke and jumped on me with like 3 heroes or something, if they really wanted to, if they were prepared. Because they've had 2 or 3 heroes just standing on their Spirit, and the Rubik have just been standing around mid. They could have grabbed any other 2 heroes and just blown me up and gotten out, I feel. And that would have been a lot better for them. But that hasn't happened. They're kind of still pushing mid. We got all these stones sitting. But I'm not too worried about that. As long as I can finish my item. Our Spectre almost has a heart, which is great. I don't know why I approached from this way. Oh, it's because we didn't have a ward. That's right. Our ward ended up dying out, and it kind of made me worried. So I put another one down in the mid lane, and I didn't feel safe approaching from this way. I felt safe going around this way because I didn't expect to get spotted. So now we're kind of pushing up mid. Oh, it's a Bat Rider with a DD. It's not really worth me ulting that, I don't think. Kind of just lost Bat Rider benefit, but we did get a tower, so I guess it was kind of worth it. We should be able to run away from this now. I would have liked to get that bounty rune. That would have been really nice. This is kind of the point where we realized that we had no towers, or before we took the tier 1, we're like, oh, we're actually winning, but we have no towers. This is really weird. So I kind of decided to look around the map and try to go for towers more often. We do have a gold advantage, we have an experience advantage as well. Things are going pretty good. Alright, this is when I was finally like, look guys, I'm really close to my item sifter. Whenever I fight somebody for farm, I usually like check their items first, and that's a really good habit to get into. We didn't really know where the heroes were right now, so I was kind of worried to be here. This didn't feel super safe. This is really dangerous. It's like the blue guy saw this. That's funny, but he was scared to walk through it. It's really interesting. Whipped my ulti. That was really bad. This is quickly looking bad. Well, I got my item at least. Spectre got out as well, so that could have been way worse. I could have gotten caught. I'm really glad I put the vortex down because it actually scared the storm spirit away. If he would have walked through there normally, he would have found me. So I can buy another observer ward or something like that. I really shouldn't use my ultimate like that either. That was pretty bad. Kind of just guessed where I thought the fight would be, trying to land it on one hero, but even that's not worth it. It's better off if I kind of use it as a wait till they stop moving thing. I'm going to throw my ulti top to try to slow them down. But I think this is maybe a mistake as well. Luckily, it does keep the Storm Spirit back. It ended up being kind of okay, because the Storm Spirit ended up leaving the fight. But I kind of wished at this point that I had the ulti. I guess it ended up being alright, because we got a Rubik kill out of it, so that was okay. Landed it only on one hero, but lost Bat Rider for that. Definitely not worth chasing. Now we gotta go get more wards down. We could start warding aggressively. I wish I would have stayed and dropped a ward. I thought about that now. I do this too often where after a fight happens, I like start going somewhere else and I'm like, oh, I have wards, let's go ward. And then I'm like, oh, where should I ward? Oh, that place I was just at. If you can think a little bit more ahead of you. I wasn't sure if we were going to continue pushing this. I think this is a bit of a mistake from us. It's actually a big mistake. Oh yeah, he did end up TPing. Yeah, the Necrolyte TP'd out, and then the Storm Spirit pulled him, which was why he was moving away. He ended up taking a lot of rupture damage, but he ended up surviving, so that was well done by him. We do have a lacking of disables, so I guess the Spectre was able to go get a kill. What is this, like a creep or something? Oh, he must have he punched one of the creeps in there so that it would get trapped. I was pretty worried here because I saw they were still chasing me. Luckily for me, I think he ran out of mana. It was really close. Trickle boots are good. They make you run fast. Alright, whenever there's downtime like this, just try to ulti enemy heroes if you can while they're pushing. It's really good to do that. Generally best to do it when they're about to meet up on creeps, though. It ends up working a bit better. I ultied bottom here because I was scared that they were going to teleport. I thought that they might. It's like, alright, they're going to teleport. And then the tower was dead, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I wasted my ulti. And now I wish I had it for top. That was pretty unfortunate. I was trying to be cool and predict stuff, and then ended up not being useful. Man, Rupture is so good. That was really close. Got my ulti off. That was good. Storm Spirit was quite annoying this game. This guy was all about all chatting. Definitely time to push here, so casting Chilling Touch is fine. I think we're gonna Roche, I believe, is what we're doing. I wanted him to break the Lincolns. Actually, I think he actually did this time. Can't remember. Landing an Ice Blast on somebody when they're thinking about fighting or doing something dangerous is like the best though. I did not like that at all. There's literally no reason to attempt to silence Roshan. It is like by far the most wasteful thing I've ever seen. It's 300 pure damage, like, or 260 pure damage or something like that. It is not worth it. It's like your big team fight ability. It's like casting Ravage on Roshan if it would stun him. It's just not worth it. It's not exactly the same, but huge. It's a huge cooldown. It's definitely not worth it. So I'm just gonna kind of follow to see where Storm Spirit's farming, and then I'm gonna throw my ulti at him. It's because that's gonna make him scared, basically. It's gonna also push the lane back. I get last hits. Some of those creeps will die. He's gonna take damage over time. He can't heal for a while. Just kind of like limits your opponent's movement, makes them scared. Bought quite a few sentry wards this game, but I really didn't need to. This is pretty dangerous of me, I remember. I wanted to get an observer ward down. I wanted to wait until that creep died first. No, I didn't really wait. It's pretty closely dancing on the vision border there. Got a whole 50. That's a pretty good ward to place as well. Missed the observer ward there, I didn't see it. It's a great ward if you want to kind of segment off half of their jungle. Most people place over here, but this one is very unlikely to be dewarded. Almost nobody dewards that one. Almost everybody places somewhere right here. This one can be pretty good, and this one can be okay too. But you kind of want to make a line like this usually, because then you can farm like these 3 camps pretty safely, and it segments off your map pretty good. Level 13 as AA is great, by the way. You can pretty much die happy getting the level 2 ulti. If you get the level 3 ulti, then you're super happy. It does a lot of damage then. You can like kill creep waves with it from long range. So I just kind of want to sit really far back. It's not really helpful for me to hit the tower. I just want to sit back and counter initiate, cast my Ice Blast on somebody if I need to. At this point I told people to go back, I think. And our Earthshaker ended up going back, and nobody else did. It was a bit of a weird glyph, I think. I don't know why he didn't just sit and go for the deny. I thought that was weird. I should have aimed the Ice Blast based on the tower though. Now he's gonna die, and I think we lost somebody else too. Yeah, we also lost the Bloodseeker. That was just bad call management. They were making excuses like, oh, we just need to go in racks because he's gonna split push no matter what. But you have to go back and stop people from split pushing, because if we like get up into the mid racks, then there's just we might hit a point where oh, this is crazy. I told this guy not to do this. Ulti was completely wasted here. Well, I guess it does apply until after. Now he does have an Aegis, so what I want to try to do is scare him. Kind of worried about them continuing to chase after us, so I just did my best to try to make sure that he wasn't going to die there. And it does kind of help to pressure. It's kind of hard to know how to do that though. A lot of times I do end up feeding when I do that, but I think there just scaring the Rubik back was kind of helpful because he doesn't get stunned, things like that. I was going for Ghost Scepter next because that was going to help me versus Storm Spirit and Bristleback as well. If those heroes ever get on top of me, then I can at least be survivable for a bit. It's a Hex on Storm. Kind of need a Force Staff against Hexes. Hexes are really good against carries, but I don't think we had a Force Staff on Bat Rider actually. Just the KDs for everybody if you're curious. Batrider did pretty well, but he was a little too YOLO, and I think Earthshaker should have done a lot more with the space that I gave him by buying all the support items. I'm not entirely sure, and I think Bloodseeker didn't play that great. But I think Spectre played really well, and I was pretty happy with my performance as well. Earthshaker played kind of pretty okay, not amazing. I'm definitely not going to be here for this fight, so I have to kind of like aim where I think it's going to be. This is kind of hard to do. That's a pretty good aim spot. I did end up getting in this time. He was going to die anyways, but that like guaranteed his death because his BKB just ended, so that was okay. I maybe could have shot off farther, but... So if you do land it on BKB heroes, as soon as their BKB goes away, the ice buff, the debuff will still be there. So that's something they have to be concerned about. It's actually pretty big. And now we're going to push, so I'm going to go show up mid. And whenever you're sieging with Ancient Apparition, it's really good to place Ice Vortexes in areas where they have to walk by. So I like putting one in between the Raxes. I like putting one... I'm not placing very many right now, but I know I do eventually. I was worried about where the storm was. I was really dumb by the storm. What he did there was he tried to... He did ball lightning, and then he TP'd while he was ball lightning just to do damage. So that's why he just stood there. It's because he was teleporting. And then we stunned him, so his teleport stopped, and then we just killed him. That was like the biggest throw. We actually killed him for nothing. That was maybe a waste. See, that's what I'm talking about. Why did I buy Aghanim Scepter if I'm just gonna use it to kill Rubik's like that, you know? It's a bit of a waste, but I mean, we're so far ahead right now that it's okay. The storm kind of threw his whole life away. That was like it's like the throwiest thing I've ever seen. And he just bought a Hex too. Like, he actually could have done some good stuff during that team fight. He had a BKB. He had a Hex. This was really not safe to TP this close. Really not safe. I'm gonna keep putting Vortexes down so it's hard for them to chase. It's actually pretty amazing how much you can dissuade your opponents from chasing you with just AA. Despite not having disables, you can just make them think like, oh, they're probably gone. I have to run through this like vortex at 30% movement speed. It's a huge barrier of entry. That storm threw so bad. Like I was feeling like we were insanely far ahead, but I feel like Storm really could have done something. I mean, we're not that far ahead. It's 7.5k. If they team fought properly, they could definitely still win. Our Spectre's really farmed though. I think we were talking about last items here. I was telling him to get a butterfly. Some of the other guys were saying Daedalus or something. Daedalus was his 6th item, I believe. And it was pretty good there. But I think Butterfly was definitely the way to go here. The reason Butterfly is fantastic is because it gives you evasion. Evasion helps you against Bristleback. It really helps you against Storm. Unless he hexes you, of course, then you don't have evasion. But I think that's fine. He needs to worry about Storm, I feel, more than any other hero. If he ended up grabbing, like... I know somebody was telling him to get Scotty, actually. They were like, oh, get Scotty. You can get any item, we'll still win. So someone said get Scotty, and I was like, no, Scotty's not good, because it increases your HP by 750 or something. And that's good, but the problem is that they have a Necrolyte. Not that Necrolyte's been a problem yet, but if Necrolyte ultis a Spectre, when Spectre is low, Spectre will die. And it doesn't matter how much HP you have. If you increase your HP, that means the Reaper's Scythe does more damage. I mean, they still have to get you below half, but Reaper's Scythe does more damage no matter how much more HP you have. So you just have to get them below half HP and you're good. So like only half of the HP on Scotty ends up being essential against Reaper's Scythe. So I felt like the way to go is definitely to just get a Butterfly. You can become evasive against Storm Spirit attacks, and everything's gonna be okay. That's kind of how I felt about it. I just wanted to get that Sentry Ward out of my inventory, so that's kind of why. It's kind of fun. I did end up catching him. So at this point I had like a ridiculous amount of money. I was like, I'm gonna buy an E-Blade. which is it's not the right choice, but it's fun. Other items that you should be getting as a support here is Force Staff, almost always. I don't remember if I ended up getting that. Even a Blink wouldn't be the worst on Ancient Apparition, I feel. It's kind of bad, but it's not like the worst. It's pretty bad though. It's pretty bad. Dropping ultis on Force. It's counter pushing as well. Clears the creep wave. That's maybe a bit of too big of a cooldown because we might be fighting in 30 seconds, but looks like he's gonna split push again. I'm gonna save this observer ward for high ground probably. Oh, I think I ended up using on this the big hill spot because I was kind of worried about fighting. Man, our Bat Rider was so good at getting himself killed solo. He's like really amazing at it. And I wasted my ulti here. That was just, oh wow, that guy messed up. What a crap team fight. That was a horrible team fight. So these are all the problems. I missed my ulti. I didn't waste it. I didn't use it. Earthshaker whiffed his dunk because he got hit by cool sprays. And Bat Rider was already dead. So we basically had a 4v5 where we whiffed 2 ultis on supports. And we accomplished nothing. That was terrible. That was really terrible. At least Spectre didn't die, I guess, but that was pretty throw worthy. I really shouldn't. There's no point for me to throw my ulti top. Like, my ulti was not gonna make. It was like very low chance of making the difference between Bat Rider living or not. And I keep like using the cooldown as an opportunity to maybe make something happen when I should just keep it for the fight that's about to happen in close range, where I can guarantee that my ulti hits. Pretty much guarantee a close range ulti on somebody that's stunned. I'm gonna hit somebody, you know. Or I could maybe hit 2 or 3 people. Even if they use BKBs afterwards, it still would have been useful. But I didn't get that opportunity because I wasted it. I could make a mech here. That was another item I was thinking about. We never had a mech on the team. Force Staff mech is good. I think I ended up building a Vlad's though because we kind of had some trouble fighting that fight, and I was like, you know what? If the Spectre actually had lifesteal there, I feel like he would have been okay. And, you know, 5 armor for everybody in your team is not the worst. So I probably should have just built a mech. I'm not sure. Mech would have been maybe a better choice. Probably would have been a better choice. Mech's probably better. Mech's better than Vlad's, even late game, maybe. I don't know. It gives lifesteal to Bloodseeker. It gives lifesteal to Spectre. That was kind of what I was concerned about. 5 armor to me is not the worst. It increases everybody's damage. It gives me like 15 damage. It gives, I don't know how much damage everybody else gets. Spectre's probably gonna get a lot. He probably gets like 30 damage less. You know what? Vlad's probably better late game. Bloodseeker gets a lot as well. Wasn't even entirely sure if that was real or not. That guy was not very attentive, I think. Pretty easy kill. It was a bad fight. That was my team overextending. I think the Spectre went way too ham. I think they bought back a little. Bristleback bought back into the game. So there was a Bristleback buyback. I guess Rubik was dead, probably respawned. But they went way too far without everybody else. That was way too deep. I think that was a big mistake. If we would have stayed just together, I feel like we would have been able to pick people off a bit simpler. If Spectre runs all the way forward and he gets hexed and he gets right-clicked for that long, and nobody's able to follow up and cover him, then he's going to be in some trouble. So I think this is just kind of some throwing going on by a couple of people on our team. I need to buy back here. Decided to ult the creep wave, that got rid of the pipe. They obviously knew I was going to do that because I bought back. We ended up catching ourselves a bristleback. That was pretty nice. And that was buyback, by the way. Luckily our Spectre never died in any of these crazy throw fights. Yeah, 5 armor is also really good because it helps the creeps push. It's another thing. Basher may have been good as well, like an Abyssal Blade or something. Maybe he should have gotten that instead of a Daedalus. It doesn't do anything for your illusions, but it allows you to bash the Storm. Maybe kill the Storm. Storm's kind of the issue, so maybe that would have been better. I'm not sure though. The plan here was to push mid into top, which is what we were attempting to do here. Just gonna sit really far back. Necros killed pretty much means Spectre shouldn't die. I gave my team Chilling Touch here because I was scared that there would be a fight starting soon, and I wanted to make sure that I could get as many as possible. So usually when the fight starts, everybody goes crazy and splits up, and I can only catch like 1 or 2 people with Chilling Touch. So I thought it was better to reduce our attack speed by 20% in the off chance that the fight started. Make sure you do that when you actually think a fight's going to start, because I feel a lot of times, I've complained about this in the past, people will cast it when you're all going high ground and hitting a tower because the entire enemy team is dead. Don't do that. If you think there might be a fight and it's better to apply Chilling Touch to everybody, then you can go for it. Spectre is like insanely fun. It's not that great to use an ulti like that. I actually didn't expect that fight to start, so it's partially my fault. I should have had an ulti for this, but we gotta push the lanes out. So me walking over there is probably not gonna get me there in time. It's better usually to just right click the creep wave. Keep it moving a bit faster. Come little creeps. I think the most important thing you need to do when you're playing, if you're learning Ancient Apparition, is learn how to short range ulti accurately. Super important to do that. If you can't land your short range ultis, then you shouldn't be playing the hero, because those are usually the ones that are most crucial. Like when somebody is chain stunned for 3 seconds, if you could just blow them up right there and land your ulti on them, it is so important. Definitely do that if you can. Learn how to do that short range ulti, super short range casts. I accomplished a lot by sitting in the back, even though it might have seemed a little bit weird. Them running that deep for me was pretty good for me, I think. Or good for our team at least. You know, if they spend that much time trying to kill a support, it's gonna guarantee the our carries end up doing a lot. So I feel pretty good about that fight. Killed the Necrolyte, cast a lot of spells, used Chilling Touch, used Cold Feet when applicable. At this point in the game, Chilling Touch does very little. These people are quite mobile and they have BKBs and things, but it's a bit of extra damage, you know. Most of your impact in late game comes from being able to guarantee kills on heroes without BKBs and Ice Vortexes everywhere in the fights. They really do make a big difference, especially with Radiance. I mean, you're boosting the Radiance damage a little bit by reducing their magic resistance, so even late game is a fairly useful hero, fairly useful support. I mean, basically. That's kind of how I felt about it too. I was like, was that the first one? I kind of felt like that was the first one. So, that's Ancient Apparition. Pull, be a little greedy, get levels. Once you hit 6, set up kills, all that good stuff. Just be there for pushes and fights, and try to pay attention to where ganks are happening and see if you can combo your ulti with it. By wards and things like that, your items are really not that important. Your levels are more important than anything else, and that's how to best play Ancient Apparition, I think. Just get levels, try to use your ulti to combo with people, use your skills in team fights. Don't stand too close to the front. You should always stand way in the back because everybody's going to go on you because you're an easy kill. So be careful about that. Luckily, the only hero that's a little scary to play against the Storm Spirit here. If they had more mobile heroes like Phantom Assassin or something, oh, it's just going to be a bad time because she'll jump on you and she'll kill you. So it was a pretty good game for AA. I was really happy with this hero in this game. So I hope you learned a lot. I know I haven't uploaded an AA video in a long time. I hope this makes up for it, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.